International Swimming League welcomes you back to Budapest as week 2 of ISL 2020 continues, and one of the 2 unbeaten teams so far this season getting set to match it up again. Iron New York Breakers, DC trying, can anyone take down the Cali Condors, who indeed were in red-hot form in match 1 of ISL 2020. We are so glad he decided to join us alongside 3-time Olympic gold medalist Rowdy Gaines. I am Bernie Gunther. Well, one thing is for certain, Rowdy, the Cali Condors, they love the jackpot rule. They scored 99 points, 16 of the races, jackpotted, and sold points from the rest of the teams.
And once again, they're loaded with great superstars like Lily King and Caleb Dressle, and then they've got great depth, good relays. We could see another jackpot coming along real soon.
And speaking of Lily King, what a start to our ISL career. 21 for 21. She still hasn't been beaten.
Best breaststroker in the world, certainly in the sprints, 50 and 100. Unbeatable. She won the 200 here, has that great classic stroke. Nobody can beat her, and I don't think it's going to happen here as well.
Lily King, MVP of week 1. Also for Team Iron, MVP Ranomi Kromowicz-Yo-Yo. What a performance she had.
She really did, and is she stepping it up in some off events? At least the very first event that we're getting ready to see, the 100 butterfly, she'll do anything for those team points. One of the best sprinters in the world today.
Well, of course, Team Iron, they would like to lock their spot in the semifinals. This is a look at where we sit standing-wise. LA Current, they currently lead, but they have one more match than the Cali Condors. Iron, DC trying to New York Breakers, and of course, New York, they are the ones with the most to gain right now as they currently find themselves 10th at ISL 2020. Let's get it kicked off. 100 butterfly, Ranomi Kromowicz-Yo-Yo coming onto the pool deck. That just shows you how important this race is for Rowdy.
Yeah, it's important for her, obviously, for personal reasons, I think. She won the 50 fly last week in one of the fastest times thus far in the International Swim League. But she is yet to swim the 100. Talked to her earlier. It's a rare event for her, but she's willing to do anything for her team, as I mentioned, and that's stepping up in one of those off events and trying to score those first-time valuable points to gain momentum the rest of the way.
Yeah, there she is on the left side of the screen, and in fact, we had heard it a couple of ways. We had heard it as Ranomi Kromowicz-Yo-Yo,
Yeah.
and Rowdy, I know you went and wanted to get it right from the mouth of Ranomi, and she told us.
Between Mark and I,
Yep.
I think we've talked to her half a dozen times before the meet started, and she said Kromowicz-Yo-Yo. That's how she likes it, although she's comfortable with Kromowicz-Yo-Yo. She's going to have a tough battle right there with Kelsey Dahlia, 3 of the 7 fastest times in history.
Dahlia with the 6 fastest times so far in ISL 2020. Sarah Sjostrom of Energy Standard has the fastest time, but Dahlia comes in 3rd-rated swimmer in this event, but again, you can't count out Ranomi because you don't often see her swim the 100. We expect her to have great early speed, and you can see her with the silver cap jumping out to the lead the first 25.
That's exactly right, Bernie. You know she's got that great raw speed, and right off the bat, she starts off way ahead, and Dahlia is really going to have to come from behind on this one. She's right underneath her in lane number 4, and Dahlia was 7th at the 50. She's got a lot of room to make up.
Well, we told you, New York Breakers, they had the most to gain. Currently 10th, and Surkova out in lane number 8. She's the leader, turning, trying to get 9 points for New York.
Look at Surkova go! Look, she's coming in rated 9th. Unbelievable performance right now.
Dahlia comes surging home, but it's going to be Surkova pulling the upset. Look at New York, 15 points. They get the win.
What a start for New York. This is exactly the epitome of what you need to start off a competition. One thing is for sure, you just don't know until you swim the race. All the way to the right, her time going into this race was the 9th fastest, and we're only 2 weeks in. She just gets by Dahlia by 12 100ths of a second. Dahlia went from 7th to 2nd. Kromowicz-Yo-Yo went from 1st to 8th.
Well, the Breakers, only 6 swimmers returned from their 2019 season, 17 making a debut, and Surkova helping New York jump out to the lead, leading by 3 points early on over the Cali Condors. All right, it's time to bring you onto the pool deck for the Caleb Dressle show. At least 9 performances expected. Potentially, you could see him swim 10 times over 2 days, only 4 hours, Rowdy, of swimming, depending on what the skins is. There's Zach Harding over in lane number 2. There's Caleb Dressle coming in. He went without a win on day number 1, and I think that surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, I certainly think it did, and he made up for it the second day, though, didn't he? He won a lot of events the second day, and I was talking to him earlier as well, and he said, listen, I'm thrilled about swimming the breaststroke. I love it. I kind of had to talk to the coaches into it because this would be the only chance to do it as you see the rest of the field being introduced, and I think this is one event, obviously his best event, but he's going to end up swimming the breaststroke a little bit later on, including on the relay.
Well, Dressle's the only swimmer rated in the ISL top 10 in this event, comes in rated number 3, beat by Tom Shields by 4 100ths.
Yeah, nobody even ranks in the top 10. He's the only one in the top 10, rated second behind Shields, who was just spectacular at 49.3.
The field also includes Nicolas Santos, who at 40 years old reminds me that I need to get back in the gym because he looks like he is in great shape. Santos was second in the 50 fly, but 5th in the 100 fly for Team Iron. And look at Dressle jump out. He is one of the best starters on the planet.
And Wang right underneath him, his teammate is also off to a quick start, 0.57. Wang, you might remember, broke the world junior record in the 200 fly earlier in the meet.
All right, it's Dressle followed by 40-year-old Nicolas Santos out on lane number 6. Team Iron trying to get some big points. Dressle trying to hold on for first place.
Well, Santos will end up fading. He's really more known as a 50 guy. He won't be there at the end. Dressle ended up fading a little bit himself the last meet. He's not doing it here, though.
The battle is for second. Caleb Dressle, he is going to get day 1 win this time already. Cali Condors, and look at all these points. Caleb Dressle, jackpot time in this event, 2 seconds. He goes 49.35, just a couple of tenths off of what he went in Las Vegas a year ago, where he set an ISL record.
And how about that jackpot? Stolen time, just beautiful off the start. I never get tired of watching him off the blocks in his first 15 meters. Great undulation, chin tucked nice and low, keeps that head in line with his spine. Just a pretty stroke, and 49.35, still second to Shields, not by much. Shields went 49.30 thus far this season, but much faster, almost a half a second faster than he went last week. He'll be happy with that.
Cali Condors, they were trailing the Breakers, but no more. Caleb Dressle, a year ago, MVP in so many meets, getting Cali off to a good start as he's won his first event here in match number 4, winning the 100 butterfly. My 100 butterfly in the books, back on the pool deck. It is time now for the women's 200-meter backstroke. Cali Condors in the lead. New York Breakers currently second. And Team Iron making an update, Rowdy. Katinka Hosu was expected to swim this event. They scratched her late. Ustinova now is going to go into her place in lane number 5, but still a really good field here. Amy Bilquist is one of 3 rated swimmers in the top 10 in this event, and Beta Nelson's yet to get a rating, but I think she expects to get one maybe after this swim as she finished second in match number 1.
I'm still in a little bit of a state of shock that they've substituted Ustinova right there for Hosu. Hosu came in with a world record, did not perform well that very first meet last week, and in fact she was 5th but she's the world record holder. And, you know, Iron needs all the points they can get here as well. They're currently in third right now, and I'm a little surprised that they took Hosu off. I've got Hosu on the relay later on, swimming the 200 IM. We'll see a lot of Hosu, but all of a sudden you go from a potential win to perhaps not getting, if not getting jackpotted here.
Well, in the team battle, this could be a big race for DC trying Amy Bilquist won match number 2. They find themselves currently 4th.
I love this matchup now, Beta Nelson and Amy Bilquist. Nelson, you might remember, was chasing C-Bomb down at the end of that first meet. She was only a couple tenths behind one of the great backstrokers in history in C-Bomb from Energy Standard. And Amy Bilquist, what did she go out and do? She went out and won the 200 backstroke in the second fastest time thus far this year. And all of a sudden, early on, look who's in battle for first.
There they are on the left side of the screen. Amy Bilquist, red cap. She's in lane number 2. Right next to her, Beta Nelson in the blue cap. For the Cali Condors, Lisa Bratton, by the way, for the Toronto Titans, one of the expansion teams into ISL 2020. She's got the fastest time in all the field. And of course, can't go without saying how good the Tokyo Frog Kings were in the lead all the way until the Skins in the match yesterday. But so far, halfway home here in this 200 backstroke, it is Bilquist trying to get her second win.
30.4 there for Bilquist. Nelson right there with her, 30.6. Only 0.3 of a second separates them. And don't forget that Nelson was really charging at the end of the race, the first meet. She almost ran down C-Bomb, and she's having a great third 50. And they are going to go dead even into this wall with 50 meters left to go.
Look at how tight this is. Bilquist in lane number 2. Beta Nelson separated by only a tenth of a second. And look at the underwater by Beta Nelson. She's taking the lead.
Yeah, and that's exactly what she did the other day. She had a little quicker 50 there on that third 50, and watch the underwater. Still underwater. Still underwater. Oh, wow, she goes a good 12 and a half, 13 meters under the water there on that last turn.
What a tremendous back half. Beta Nelson, her first ISL win. And for the Cali Condors, they go first and third, and Beta Nelson's thinking jackpot. 4.8 seconds was the jackpot time in this event.
Oh, she's going to pick up
and she's going to
lot.
add 10 more points onto the total, snatching away the points for swimmers that finish 5th through 8th. Again, the jackpot time is another new rule for ISL 2020. We saw the Cali Condors take advantage of that rule 16 times in their first match.
What a swim by Beta Nelson. First of all, she goes her best time in history last weekend, 2:02.9. What did she do there, Bernie? She goes her best time by over a second and a half, 2:01.3, and that is now the fastest time of the season in the ISL. She went right by Lisa Bratton. What a swim and what a jackpot.
And the Breakers, who were second, go without scoring in that event, so that allows Team Iron to pull within 10 points. But the Cali Condors in the lead early on. 5-time Olympian Mark Foster down on the pool deck with Beta Nelson. Lorati, I tell you this, at $2,500 or so US dollars per win, I think she can buy a bunch of jogging pants.
Well, think about this. How good were those top two swimmers? Bilquist went 2:01.7. That's the second fastest time this season. So both of them. Give credit for Nelson to winning, but Bilquist was right there as well. Great swims for both of those women.
All right, back here on the pool deck, it's the men's 200 backstroke, and Radislav Kvecki is going to be in lane number 3. He was the ISL record holder until 2 days ago when Ryan Murphy regained that title. Comes in third rated in this event. He scored 15 points in his first match, winning this. 3-time world short course champion in the 200 backstroke. Won this event 5 times at the European Short Course Championships as well.
Bernie's about a 2.5 lifetime better than Jacob Pebley, who will be right underneath him in that red cap. Guy's been there, Olympic finalist, World Championship finalist. We talked about him last week as being right there with Ryan Murphy in a great 1-2 punch that the United States has had historically. But boy, Kvecki looking good.
Yeah, you could expect potentially this being another big jackpot event. 4.3 seconds is the jackpot time.
Well, he's a half a second ahead of Pebley already. 25.3 on the way out on his feet. Murphy went 148.4 a couple days ago. 148.51 Kvecki went the first weekend. First weekend he was out in 53 plus. Here he's 52.8, certainly on track to go faster.
Man, he could set a new ISL record. Remember, Ryan Murphy went 148.4 just 2 days ago. It looks like Kvecki and Murphy might continue to push one another.
Jacob Pebley looking pretty good, kind of hanging right there at his hip. Hasn't given up on this race. He's swimming a lot better too. He went 150.4 and he's certainly on track to go faster than he went last week. He's still a second behind Kvecki.
50 meters of backstroke to go. Kvecki trying to get the third win of the day for the Cali Condors, trying to join Dressle and Beta Nelson.
Boy, he is right underneath that lane line. Did you see him? He went directly underneath it and it almost popped up and hit the lane line. He didn't, but almost.
Kvecki 148.23, and for the third time this season, the ISL record goes down. Third win of match 4. Cali Condors, they're soaring early on. Well, there she is backstage, ready to go. Lily King, Olympic champion. For her start for ISL 2019 and 2020, she has won her first 21 consecutive races. Not just champion individually, Roddy, but every time she's gotten on a relay, she's won as well.
It's an unbelievable streak, and you would think sooner or later it's got to end. All streaks end sooner or later, so she's going to get beat at some point, but this race right here, it's going to be very, very tough. Although there are some really good swimmers. 4 of the fastest 8 thus far this season are in here, and those 4 have all been 2:18 or better. So there are times that they can do.
There's Bethany Gallagher. She is the 8th rated ISL swimmer. She could be someone that potentially could challenge Lily King. King has won this race 5 times already in her ISL career, and she scored 15 points in this race. Laukkanen is going to be in lane number 5. Maybe the only one that you would expect to challenge her is going to be out in lane number 7 for the New York Breakers. And Emily Escobedo, ISL rated number 5 in this event.
She's been 2:18.4, and that was last weekend. She got second to Lily King. Again, 2:18.4 to 2:17.1 is still almost a second and a half. But, you know, one little slip, Lily maybe kind of taking a little bit of different training track this week. I saw her earlier, and she said, you know, she's been training hard. So what does that mean for the rest of the field? Who knows when you've got the greatest going at you.
Lily King's going to be in lane number 3.
I know she'd like to move up as far as lifetime best. Right now, she's the 9th fastest performer in history. American record is Rebecca Soni. That's 2:14.5. That happens to be also the world record. So not sure that's approachable yet. But Lily King just, again, I mean, look at her, Bernie. She just has so much to offer as far as the beginning of a race that so many people are left with, it's deflating in so many ways when you know that you can see her out of the corner of your eye, a body length after a quarter of the race is done.
Amazing to think that the world record in this event is held for over a decade, something that seems like is very uncommon nowadays.
Definitely. 30.1, by the way, for Lily King going out. That's quicker than she went last week. You look at her 100 split right here, that's almost a top 3 swim in the 100. If you think about what she went, 105 flat, that's a great 100 time for a lot of these swimmers across the planet. And that's her first 100 split, 105 flat.
New York breakers, you see on the right side of the screen, Escobedo, Renshaw swimming 2nd and 3rd. New York, they have loved the breaststroke in their short history. Escobedo won this event a year ago at Budapest. She took down Annie Laser. She went 2:18.73. But right now with 50 meters to go, it looks solid for King to go 22 for 22.
She got tired on that split there, 35.9. That was only the 4th quickest on that 50, so the field kind of inched up on her a little bit. But again, she built such a huge lead the first 100, and that's what just pounds everybody, and it just gives you no life, and there is no life now.
Jackpot time, 5.4 seconds. She scored 15 points in her win. Lily King still unbeaten. How many points will she score? Escobedo 2nd, Gallup 3rd.
Wow, what a time. 2:16 flat, lifetime best. I think she's in a better state of shock. There's Jonty Skinner, Jason Lezak, the GM. That now becomes the 6th fastest performer in history, and I don't think she believes it. She went a second faster, Bernie, than she went last weekend. And that's a new ISL record. I mean, the superlatives, the streak stays alive. That's the 2nd fastest American performance in history. Right off the bat, she's 105 flat, and then she's 111 flat coming home. Nice tight turns there. She gets great height on her stroke, but then the reach she gets out. And then she really lays out on that stroke out in front, meaning she's getting everything possible out of that just unbelievable kick. The best kick in the world, by far. Nobody's better in the kick than Lily King. And look at the difference. She wins it by 2.5 seconds. She's going, whoa, did I just go that fast? You bet you did.
What a start for Lily King, and what a start for the New York Breakers. Well, Cali Condors, they've almost doubled up New York, but New York sitting comfortably in 2nd place. And again, you get 3 points for a 2nd place finish. And that would be big for New York as they try to move up from 10th place. Again, only the top 8 teams will move on to the semifinals. And New York continues with maybe their best event coming onto the pool deck. Marco Koch is going to be out in lane number 7 alongside James Wilby. He's the #1 ISL rated swimmer in this event. The only swimmer in the field rated in the top 10. Koch, by the way, a medalist at every major championship to date, except the Olympic Games.
Well, you're right. It's going to be very tough to stay with Koch. You might see a similar performance that you saw with Lily King. He is that much better than the rest of the field. He comes in with a 2:02.1 from last week. Just behind, there's Kevin Cordes, who actually comes in with a great time as well. 2:02.3 is his lifetime best, but he did that way back in 2013 and has not performed well thus far. But Koch just certainly looks like the class of the field here. And I'll reiterate what you talked about New York, Bernie, and the fact that they have really come out on fire and swimming very well, much better than they did last week.
Expecting Koch to potentially try to get his third win in his career here in the 200 breaststroke. He won in Budapest a year ago. He won in match 1. And then, by the way, Anton McKee for Toronto snatched away his ISL record going 2:01.73. So we'll see if Marco Koch can better it here. It's Koch and Cope, 1 and 2 after the first 50.
Marco Koch went 2:00.04 back in 2016, which is the second fastest time in history. Kirill Prigoda has the world record, but you can just see him a la Lily King. It's almost looked like we're looking at a double performance here with Lily King taking it out very fast. And Koch really kind of has been known more for the second 100. 58.7 on the way out. About the same as he did last week when he went 2:02.
Cope trying to move up. DC trying, they could use some points here as they currently find themselves sitting in third with only 25 points. Team Iron is way out of it, though it is early on with only 15 points. They still have some really good events still to come. But it's Marco Koch out in lane number 7 looking real good.
Yeah, he is. Cope was third last week to Petey and Prigoda. But you can see Koch just way out there. Very comfortable, 129. His splits thus far, you think about what he's done, 27.7, 30.9, 31 flat there. Just the third 50 alone, he's a second ahead of everybody else.
And he went 2:02.1. He is going to win this 200 breaststroke. How much faster will he be? Oh, flat 81. That is almost a world record, Rowdy. Missed the world record by about 0.6.
Wow, what a performance. I mean, if you take Koch out of the equation, that's the third fastest performer in history. 21 points, jackpot. Cope is the only one that scored points against him, Bernie. Unbelievable. That is the 7th fastest performance in history. He has now 3 of the fastest times ever swum in this event. And he went 58.7 and then came home in 1:02 flat. 58.7, 1:02 flat. His second 100 is world class as an individual 100. That's how good Marco Koch was. So we have seen 2 incredible breaststroke performances, and we've only just begun.
Well, New York, New York. Marco Koch down on the pool deck with our own Mark Foster. Man, there was some question, Rowdy, about how on form the swimmers would be here for ISL 2020. I would say that for you, have they surpassed your expectations?
Without question. I mean, compared to last weekend, when I think most of the swimmers will tell you they were a little rusty last weekend just because they haven't competed. They haven't gotten up on the blocks and swam fast. And you know, just one weekend of kind of getting back into it, getting on that saddle again. It's like riding a bicycle. It just takes you a little while to get used to things, and now we're into the really important points, the relays, double.
Yeah, double points on the line here, our first relay of the day. Women's 400 freestyle, 18 points for first, and you have to settle for only 2 points for 8th place. At the point, Cali Condors sit in first, but man, New York climbing and cutting into their lead after that 30-point performance by Marco Koch.
I don't think New York will be a factor here in the women's race. They might be in the men, but this looks all Cali. In fact, they might have a chance, outside chance, they might have a chance to go 1-2 in this event. That's how tough it is to put together a Cali relay, because you have so many choices in the sprint freestyles, and they're going with Smoliga to start off. And what has she done? Well, she's just broken an American record and been a part of a bunch of relays, and a great freestyler, great backstroker. 25-1 going out, very smooth. I think DC going with Kromovidoyo. She's 25-4. She was second.
And look at Renomi. Remember, Team Iron currently find themselves in 4th. They would love to put it together here. They're in the lead, but by only 2/10 after the first leg.
Smoliga goes into Erica Brown. She was 53 flat last week on the relay, but she led off. So leading off, you got to give her about a half a second or maybe a little more for a flying leg. And this is where Cali start to really take over, because the rest of the teams just don't have the depth to put together a great relay in the free relays. They do maybe on the medley relays, but they don't on the free relays, and this is where the depth pays off. Erica Brown, as I said, was 53 flat, and then she'll go into another Olympic gold medalist. Smoliga, Olympic gold medalist, and now Schmidt, Allison Schmidt will go for Cali. She was 52 flat on their B relay last week, moves up to the A.
Cali Condors in the lead, but Gear has DC Train within range. Halfway home, 4/10 behind the Cali Condors.
Great split for Margot Gear, 52-4, and as you said, puts DC Trident back right into the thick of things. And again, Kromovioyo goes 52-3, and then Ogolgova goes 53-9, so they start to fall back. By the way, Erica Brown was 52-8.
Yeah, look at DC.
Hanging in there.
4/100s off.
Right? I'm really impressed. I just did not expect to see this at all from any of the other teams. And this is why the ISL is so great, because you have to expect the unexpected. I still think with Schmidt, she goes 52 flat again. I don't see how they catch Natalie Hines, but boy, I tell you what, give credit to DC Trident. They are hanging tough. Wow, 52-9 right there, 52-1 for Allison Schmidt. So she follows her 52 flat with a solid 52-1.
Yeah, and what a second 50 it was for Schmidt. Remember, they're only 4/100ths of a second ahead, and it was 1.2 seconds the advantage for Natalie Hines, trying to get 18 points for the Cali Condors.
Well, the great thing about DC, and they certainly look like they're going to get second here, 3 of the 4 swimmers weren't even on the A relay last week. In fact, they didn't even swim the relay last week. Hua was the only one that swam the relay. So great job for DC to put together a relay that is competitive, will get second. But again, this is all Cali right now with Natalie Hines.
Natalie Hines, she is going to win 18 points for the Cali Condors, their 5th win early on here of match 4. DC second, New York third, and the Cali Condors, they're the first team over 100 points, soaring early on.
Good job, y'all.
All right, there he is, world champion, fastest man on the planet, Caleb Dressle, going for the second time. Time to find out who is the fastest in the 50 freestyle. And right now, Caleb Dressle's ISO rating, despite the fact that he is the world record holder in this event, comes in at number 2.
Certainly based on Manadoo and what he did last week when he goes 20.6. Of course, thus far, that's the fastest. Dressle right behind him at 20.8. I think he might be a little faster this year. His teammate, Justin Ress, going to be good, too. He got 3rd in that same race, right behind Dressle.
Team Iron could use some points. Typically, the 50 freestyle, a big event for them. Maxim Lewandowski is going to be lane number 5. We saw him get a win in match number 2. And Michael Andrew trying to continue the surge. Will he have a knockout punch here in the 50 freestyle?
Well, he's certainly capable. We'll talk a lot more about Michael as we go through the races, but it's really going to come down with Caleb and Lewandowski, as you said. Both of them, they're only 2 guys in this field that have broken 21 thus far this season, but 4 of the 8 fastest in this field. Ress and Apple. Don't forget about Apple down there in lane number 2. Good start across the board. Actually, everybody was a little slow on that. Matthew Richards was actually the fastest for New York.
Michael Andrew looks pretty good out there in lane number 7, trying to battle with Dressle, but look at Dressle come off the wall. Caleb Dressle comes flying off the wall, and he's got his 2nd win. 20.69.
I knew he'd be faster, and he was. 20.6. Couple tenths faster than he went last week, and Cali pouring it on. Jackpot, 1-2 finish for them. Ress goes exactly about 2 100ths better than he went last weekend. That's another best time for him. So 2 best times for Justin Ress. 3rd from a lap, blue cap. Right next to him, Ress, 1-2. Can't ask for much more than that. A lot of points. And the fastest man in the world record holder, doing it again.
Cali, they just keep climbing up. Tacking on 17 more points than had the first to 140. And look at this. New York Breakers still remain number 2. Hey, we've been waiting for Team Iron to make their move. Is this the moment, Rowdy? 50 freestyle. Murnomi Yo-Yo back onto the pool deck. Remember, she was the MVP in match number 1. But she's got to go up against Olivia Schmoliga, who's going to be in lane number 4. Erica Brown. In fact, we have 4 swimmers rated in the ISL top 10 in this event.
4 of the top 8, actually. And boy, Iron, they're in desperation mode right now. We thought that Lewandowski would do it for the men, perhaps. He was 6th in his event. Yo-Yo will not be 6th, that's for sure.
She won the 50 free, 100 free, and 50 fly in match number 2. And she finished 4th in the backstroke skins.
Yo-Yo and Schmoliga both just got out of the relay. There are a couple of swimmers in here that, because of the fact that they did not swim the relay, gives them hope. The relay was about 15 minutes ago, so not a lot of rest for Schmoliga or Brown, Yo-Yo, Margaret Gear. Slow start across the board. Yo-Yo was last off the block. Schmoliga wasn't much better.
And it's Melanie Margalis, her teammate, Cassie Wasik out for the New York Breakers. New York, can they do it again? But here comes Renomi. Wasik trying to hold her off, and Wasik gets the win.
That's exactly what I was talking about. She did not swim the relay. They took her off the relay, which was a shocker. She had the fastest time of anybody last week on her relay. They took her off and said, let's hold you out and see if we can track them down in the 50. And it paid off in a big way. They kind of felt like, hey, we're not going to win the relay anyway. Let's save that energy and see what you give us in the 50. Second from the right, and wow, what a swim too. 23.4, that is the fastest time thus far in the season.
Third win of the day for the New York Breakers. How about New York currently holding on to that number 2 spot, trying to get 3 points for their team? But man, oh man, the day has belonged to Caleb Dressle. He wins the 100 butterfly and follows it up with a win in the 50 free. Well, New York, how about the New York Breakers today? They find themselves only 34.5 points behind the Cali Condors. And Brady, it's either been Cali Condors or New York. Those are the only 2 teams that have won an event.
Yeah, each one of them kind of trading blows, and Cali has obviously more depth, so that's the reason why those 34 points. But listen, we don't take anything from what New York has been able to accomplish, and with these skins coming up, that has given me a whole different perspective on anything can happen in this sport and in this league.
All right, 200 IM is next. There's Joe Litchfield, speaking of which, he finished second in the backstroke skins, but how cool was it? Because his points were jackpotted away by Ryan Murphy. He's got a chance to score some points for the Breakers here. Gunnar Bentz comes in as the top ISL rated swimmer in this event, coming in at 9th. A year ago, he swam for Team Iron. He was second in this event last year in Dallas.
But watch Joe Litchfield. I mean, he got 3rd the first weekend, and this event today, anyway, is wide open. There is no Hagino. There is no Seliskar. There is no Heinz. I mean, this is a relatively weak field overall, as you could see from Gunnar Bentz only being rated 9th. So this is another opportunity for New York to kind of close the gap a little bit with Cali, potentially.
The Brady kind of just tells you the story of this is going to be all about matchups, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Each team is swimming 4 matches. Top 8 teams go into the semifinal, and some days you might be going against Tokyo's Hagino, who of course is going to be really difficult to match up against. And some days your team just match up a whole lot better, and that's the days you need to take advantage of it.
And isn't that exactly what New York has done today?
Yeah.
They just didn't have the right matchups last weekend, and today they do. And this just might propel them into the Final 8. We were talking last weekend that they might not even make the Final 8, and now all of a sudden we're thinking, heck yeah, they've got a great chance.
Meanwhile, Team Iron, I should say, in the lead.
Boy, they definitely need this. More than any team, they need this win.
Abram Devine down at the bottom in lane number 1 with 50 yards of freestyle to go. Finds himself second to Santos. Leonardo Santos, who was second in match number 2, trying to get the win for Team Iron. Can he hold off Devine? Team Iron trying to get their first win. They could get some momentum because Katika Hosu is about to go next in the women's 200 IM.
He's gonna do it.
Santos has got the first win of match 4 for Team Iron. Devine second, Litchfield third.
Very nice. Boy, they so much wanted that. I mean, you can see how excited Santos is. That's a great time, 1:52.8. That's actually the second fastest time thus far this season, just behind Heinz. Devine was fantastic too at 1:53.6. That's the 5th fastest time. Santos in the middle. Divine from DC, and both of those teams, Bernie, the Iron and DC definitely needed those points because they were neck and neck and being last. And Iron and DC will certainly move up with that.
15 big points for Santos. As a team, they score 19, and look at this. Iron now within 2.5 points of the DC. Trying to remember, you tack on an extra point for every place you are above your opponent. 4 points for first in the table at the end as we bring on maybe one of the more intriguing battles that we're going to see today in this 200 IM. You got Katinka Hosu, world record holder in lane number 5. Melanie Margalis, there she is on the left, ISL record holder and the top rated ISL swimmer. And I think a lot of people have been waiting for this battle between Hosu and Margalis.
Yeah, no question about it. This is what, I think this is the most intriguing matchup thus far in this short ISL season so far. I love the matchup. I love that the fact that you have the 2 fastest swimmers in history in this event. Melanie Margalis broke the American record last week. Katinka Hosu, obviously the world record holder, in fact has 8 of the 10 fastest times in history. Rated number 1, rated number 2. Best matchup of the week.
And remember, Roddy, they pulled Katinka Hosu out of the 200 backstroke, so she should be a whole lot fresher than when she went 2:07.
We're an hour in. First time we've seen the best female swimmer in the world, or at least the best all around. First time after an hour into the meet. So you know she's fresh. There's no doubt about it there. She's got nothing to say that she didn't come in ready to go. But to be fair, it's Melanie Margalis' first race too. So both of them come in here real fresh and ready to go.
And don't forget about Abby Wood. She comes in with the 3rd fastest time in ISL 2020. Trying to continue that momentum for the New York Breakers, and Wood is the leader by a half second.
A lot of good swimmers in here. 4 of the 7 fastest thus far of the season are in this field. But nobody is better than Melanie Margalis right now on the back half of her race. Her last 100, at least in 2020, this early in the season, is better than anybody else.
And Wood is going to be the leader. But Margalis has pulled within 3/10. Hosu almost a full second behind as Margalis trying to pull even now with Abby Wood, but Abby Wood looks really good at the top of the screen in lane number 7.
Margalis on that backstroke was 31.1, Wood was 31.4, and this is where I would think Margalis really starts to take off and has a better freestyle than anybody else, but give credit to Wood. Again, let's say it, New York, New York. They have come to swim today, and look how close it is.
Margalis has the lead, but only by 6/100ths. And how about Megan Small? She's moved into 3rd. Hosu is now 5th, and it's a battle between Margalis and Abby Wood.
I have to give a lot of credit to Abby Wood. Her best time last week, 2:05.8. Margalis is going to win this. But boy, what a swim for Wood.
Melanie Margalis gets the win, 2:04.32. Abby Wood 2nd, Callie Condor's 1st and 3rd, and Katinka Hosu falls to 6th.
Shocker. The world record holder goes 5 seconds slower than her record. And Melanie Margalis, just what we talked about, 35.8, 29.4 on her last 50. Her last 50 was a full second faster than anybody else. And Abby Wood was 2nd as far as the last 50. She was 30.4, but she fell another second behind. Wood goes her best time again this week by half a second, but this was all Melanie Margalis. Best 2 times of the season so far.
5th time in her ISL career, Melanie Margalis has won the 200 IM. That'll help the Cali Condors out. Marks down with the winner. Melanie Margalis, of course, from a great swimming family. Her brother, Robert Margalis, so many times a finalist at the U.S. Olympic trials. And now we turn our attention to the 50-meter breaststroke, and we get a chance to see Caleb Dressle swim 50 breaststroke. He did swim in the ISL final, by the way, for the Cali Condors in this event. He finished 7th. Nick Fink won the event. They're expecting Nick Fink to come back. Emery Saki's going to be right next to him in lane number 5. You would expect Saki to be the one to beat for Team Iron.
Yeah, Saki 25-7, and Caleb was kind of really working on his groin because he has not swum this event, but one of the rare opportunities for him to swim breaststroke. And you got to remember, one of the rare swimmers in history to ever to be really, really good in breaststroke and really, really good in freestyle. We've seen them, but there aren't many out there.
Michael Andrew trying to track him down, but it is Saki doing it again for Team Iron. And oh, the jackpot. That's what Team Iron needed.
Boy, 25.5. That is the fastest time of the season, and he's going to be thrilled with that. That's his best time from what he went in match number 2. Boy, the times keep dropping, and look at the jackpot.
25.5, Rowdy, that is only a couple of tenths off the world record.
Yeah, the world record's 25.24. That becomes the 4th fastest swim in history. No, 3rd fastest. That is now the 3rd fastest behind Cameron Vanderberg's world record and Roland Skuman. And thank the heavens for that. Iron, you needed a great swim for, by the way, for Michael Andrew as well.
That is big for Team Iron. They have now jumped in front of the DC Triton, currently 3rd with 94 points. Well, we almost saw a world record in the 50 breaststroke. In the next 2 events, we could see a world record potentially, Rowdy. Again, you just saw Lily King with a tremendous 200 breaststroke, and typically she is even better at the 50 and the 100.
Well, let's break it down for a second, right? So she goes 2:16 flat, about a 1.5 seconds faster than she went last week in her best time, obviously. She went 28.86 in match number 1. That is exactly 0.3 off the world record. So you got to figure 1.5 seconds in the 200, 3 or 4 tenths in the 50. Could we see our first world record of the season? Could we see the American record? She has the American record, which she broke last week. Unbelievable.
But you might be able to better it right here, Rowdy.
Right. So we could definitely see a record. American record, ISL record, world record, a lot of opportunities. Molly Hannes, her teammate, is also very good. A lot of really good swimmers. In fact, 5 of the 10, half the field, are ranked in the top 10 thus far in the ISL season. But this one is Lily King.
22 for 22. Lily King perfect so far.
28.56. I hate to even say that because you tend to jinx it when you do that. Not starting off very fast there, that first 15 meters. She jumps out at it a little bit quicker in the pass. Could that 200 have taken it out of her? I think she swims fast. She breaks the world record, but don't think she's going to get it here.
Hucko trying to pull even. Here comes Molly Hanna. She is pulling her in. This one is going to be tight, but Lily King still remains perfect. 29-16.
Perfect. I think we start to take that for granted. I know I certainly have in my calls with somebody like Katie Ledecky, and you feel like the energy isn't quite there because all she does is win. Well, you tend to take that for granted with Lily King, and you don't show the excitement because we get so used to it, and I think that's really unfair to the greats. And Lily King being pushed by Molly Hannes and by Honko, who actually went by Hannes, and Iron now has had 3 or 4 good ones in a row. They scored 12 points.
Another big day for Lily King. She's got 27 points already. Another perfect day for the queen of breaststroke as her Condors remain on top.
The International Swimming League is not about times, it's about racing. Who beats who?
Leclos and Dressle battling again, and this time it goes to Caleb Dressle.
And this rationale is used to calculate each swimmer's ISL rating. Every individual race, every relay, every skins race, all this information is tracked throughout a swimmer's ISL career. The formula crunches the numbers and creates an ISL rating. The higher the ISL rating, the more valuable a swimmer is. This way, the fans before each race will know which competitors are in red-hot form and which are not. ISL, it's swimming reimagined.
But we are just getting started with ISL 2020, and we got another chance potentially to see a world record right here. Olivia Schmoliga. She was 7/100ths of a second off of Eddie and Medeiros' world record. But first, we have relay action coming onto the pool deck. The men's 4x100 freestyle relay.
This one's going to be a tight one. Iron are going to be very good. Iron have been on a roll here the last few races. You see Callie Bernie coming out. Dressle will anchor that. They changed up the order a little bit. Same 4 guys that they originally went with earlier today, but Matrak is now going to lead off. Haas going second.
Yeah, 27 points the difference at the moment for the New York Breakers and Team Iron. Again, Mirko Koch, that 30-point performance in the breaststroke, a big reason why the Breakers find themselves in second. They've won a number of races today. Surkova won, Koch won, Vasek won the 50 freestyle. But we started to see Team Iron really move up.
And Bernie, this is, if there's a weakness to Cali, and again, they have great depth, superstars. We talked about them over and over. If there's a weakness, it's in the men's sprint freestyle. Now you say, well, what about Caleb Dressle? Well, obviously, Caleb, but after that, it falls off pretty much. In fact, their 400 free relay, their men's 400 free relay, they only have the 7th fastest time thus far of this season. So again, they've got a lot of improvement to get to in the 400 free relay, in the sprints. Watch Zach Apple. He's down at the bottom of your screen in lane number 1. He's been very good for DC thus far.
Mr. 45, right?
Yeah, in fact, the fastest split of anybody in the entire ISL season. He went 45-1 anchoring this relay the other day, but now he leads off.
Apple trying to get DC trying into the lead. They have moved to 4th behind Team Iron. They could use some help here. Relays, of course, worth double points. Let's see what Apple does. At 46-2.
Again, that's a leadoff, though. 45-1 was a flying start. Nitrak was 46-8, and Iron did a good job at 47 flat. Now you'll see the tide shift a little bit, or at least they should on paper anyway, based on what they've come in and performed with. Apple and Pebley are their 2 best freestylers. Well, you think Pebley a backstroker, he's also a tremendous freestyler. He's right there in front of you. He was 47-1 on the relay last week.
Townley Haas trying to track him down for the Cali Condors. Tom DeBoer for Iron out in lane number 5, but it looks like Pebley is going to keep DC in command halfway home in this 400 freestyle.
Haas was 46-6 last week. Nice job for Haas, 46-4, so he's a little faster. How about Jacob Pebley, though? 46-4, over a half a second faster than he went last week. That's a great swim for Jacob Pebley and DC.
All right, Tate Jackson trying to track down Robert Howard. And DC still leading, but only by a 10th. And it looks like Tate Jackson has Cali in the lead now.
That's the problem with DC. They just don't have the depth. The great first 2 legs, but the second 2 legs just not quite there. And Tate Jackson was on the B relay for Cali last week. His great split of 47.5 bumps him up to the A relay, and that 296, that's 46.5. So Cali is going to really start to move up now in those rankings of men's 400 free relay. Remember, they were 3:08.2 last week. Check what they're going to do now with the great Caleb Dressle anchor.
Yeah, look at the anchor, Caleb Dressle. You wouldn't expect anybody would catch him. Saki coming off that great 50 breaststroke. He's trying to track down Caleb Dressle. Remember, a lot of races for Dressle here in just about an hour's worth of time.
Yeah, you're right. He has swum a lot. That's his 3rd race in an hour and 15 minutes, but it doesn't matter. Saki 46.5 last week. He's running out of gas in a hurry.
Cali Condors get the win. Big for Team Iron, though, because they're 2nd. DC Trident 3rd.
3:06.1, so they moved from 7th to the 4th fastest thus far. You're thinking Caleb, 46.3 on that split. And Saki, another 46.9, so they go by DC Trident, but a nice job there for DC Trident in grabbing that 3rd place spot right there. Good first 2 legs for them. Exchanges are very important, and Cali very safe on their exchanges. In fact, Dressle was 0.43 on his. Had a little cup of coffee before he even dove into the water. But yeah, I know he's hanging in there that 3rd race of the day in an hour and 15 minutes.
Caleb Dressle's won the 100 butterfly. He's won the 50 freestyle and now gets a relay win. Condors on top, and Caleb Dressle now leading the MVP battle. He has scored 36 points so far for the Cali Condors. All right, it is time now for the 50 backstroke, where we see the fastest 50 back in history. Olivia Shmoliga a week ago, only 7 100ths off a world record, but Lena Mack's going to be in lane number 2. She was very good. She won the 50 backstroke in her match. We saw Beda Nelson win the 200 backstroke earlier, the teammate for Shmoliga, and she is the American record holder in the 100, but I would think that all eyes are going to be on Olivia Shmoliga.
Yeah, Shmoliga broke that American record in the first match last weekend. 7 100ths of a second off the world record. 3rd fastest in history. Her teammate won the 200 earlier today. Both of them swam on the 4x100 relay, which was exactly 42 minutes ago. So how much do they have left? We saw Dressle swim his 4th race. I said 3rd earlier. That was his 4th race on that relay. How much do they have left in the tank? Linnea Mack comes in fresh. First race of the day. Could that be a factor here in an upset? You see her right there. That could definitely be in her favor. There's Shmoliga.
One match one, Mack one match 2.
25:67. Etienne Medeiros, who swam here earlier.
And Olivia Shmoliga, she is going to be the first to turn, 25 in, trying to carry the rest of the field. Beda Nelson right behind her. Shmoliga staying down. Olivia Shmoliga trying to get her 5th win in the 50 backstroke. Shmoliga touches the wall, 25:93.
You know, there are so many cases today that I'm just so impressed with the speed. These swimmers have not raced for almost a year. And here they are going race after race with just tremendous times. 25:9. There's no doubt in my mind that's a world record if that's the first swim for Olivia Shmoliga. There's no doubt in my mind that Lily King breaks the world record in the 50 breaststroke if that's her first swim of the day. These are the kind of races we are seeing over and over again from these superstars. Mack falls to 7. So much for being fresh. The champion of the 2nd week falls to 7. That hurts.
And look at this, Team Iron. Remember, they were in 4th for the majority of day number 1, and now they keep inching closer to the New York Quickers. They're only 4 points behind in the battle for 2nd and 3rd. All right, men's 50-meter backstroke. Another chance to see Michael Andrew. He's the highest rated ISL swimmer in this event, but he still swum a lot of 50s today, Rowdy.
He has swum a lot, and again, you know, I talked to him earlier, Bernie, and he's such a nice young man. Mark just talked to his mom, and his dad has been his longtime coach. He was out of the water for 3 months when COVID struck in March, and even today he still only gets in the water 45 minutes a day. That's how much he's allowed to get in the water. So he's really concerned about that, but he's very confident about this past week, what he's been able to put in. He said, I'm going to really train hard these 6 weeks, and then I've got to make some tough decisions to be able to get to a place that I can train on a daily basis the way I need to train. This guy could be a huge factor on making the Olympic team next summer for the United States. He may not do it here. He may not do it tonight. Stewart, rest, watch rest. He had a great 50 freestyle earlier at 21 flat.
Man, does this field look tight the first 25 minutes. Anybody's battle. Litchfield right next to Andrew. Russ at the bottom.
Wow.
It looks like it's going to be Litchfield. No, Justin Ress. Wow, somehow he got his hand on the wall first.
How did he do that? 1/10 of a second. In fact, 19 100ths of a second, 22 100ths of a second, 2/10 separates 1 through 5. Holman Stewart was 23.50 and he was 5th. 23.28 wins it. Not a great time when you look at the overall time, but again, toward the end of the meet, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the board, 2 all the way over to 7. That's how tight it was. And Rest getting another good swim of the day. A little long on the finish, but getting it done. How about Justin Rest? What a meet he's having.
What a day for the Cali Condors, surging on to now 250 points. Now we got 2 solid races before the all-important 400 medley relay to wrap things up here on the first of 2 days of match 4. Got 4 swimmers rated in the ISL top 10 here. 11 wins today for the Cali Condors. No doubt that's why they find themselves in the lead with almost 250 points. But the battle for second between the New York Breakers and Team Iron, those 2 teams separated by only 6 points. And DC this could be a spot for them to try to surge late in this one. Maybe not so much in the women's 400 freestyle, but they're gonna have Zane Grothy and Stepanovic going on the men's side. But here we'll see Flickinger and Veronika Andrusenko in lanes 5 and 3.
No Melanie Margalis here, so it certainly opens the field up, Ernie.
Yeah, you got Kappas out in lane number 7 for the New York Breakers. It's another swimmer that's gone under 4 minutes in the field. Yeah, Margalis won this in match 1. Flickinger finished 3rd, going 4:03.18. We haven't seen a time below 4 minutes so far in the 400 freestyle this year.
Andrusenko actually has the best time coming in thus far this season in the ISL. She's the 5th rated as far as ranking time-wise, the 8th rated overall in the 400. You've got 4 swimmers that are rated in the top 10 in the 400 here. Andrusenko was 4:01.5 last week, but what was impressive about that swim was she even split it. She was out in 2:01.1 and then back in 2:01.3. She's right there in the middle, lane number 5, so you don't expect her to jump on this first 100. She is currently running 4th.
And I must say, how about the great technology here for ISL 2020, the great graphic team putting together. You can see exactly where the swimmers are. This is revolutionary for the sport, by the way.
I just love it. It certainly helps me. I can look up there live look instead of looking at look at the screen and instead of my ICS. And so it's a great little tool, and it certainly helps the viewer at home.
Team Iron find themselves currently in 3rd, but only 6 points behind the New York Breakers.
Looking really nice and easy there, 1:58.7. That is almost 2, in fact, it was over 2 seconds faster than she went out in the first week. The very first match where she went 4:03, she was out in 2:01. She is really letting it fly here, going out early on in this race.
Kappas is trying to get yet another win for the New York Breakers. They started off with a win with Surkova.
Kopish was also faster. She was 2:01 last week. And there she's 1:59.2. You throw in Haley Anderson at 1:59.6. 3 swimmers broke 2 minutes going out. This is shaping up to be not only a great race, but a good job overall on the clock. Look at her, still getting a good look. You can see her right in front of you, breathing to her right. So she knows exactly where her teammate Anderson and Kopish up there in lane number 7 is. Kopish starting to make a move a little bit. Remember, Flickener is more known, obviously, as a 200 butterflyer. In fact, one of the best 200 flyers in the world, won the silver medal at the World Championships a couple years ago, had the fastest 2 times. We'll definitely see her in the 200 fly tomorrow.
This could be big for the Breakers if Blanco Kopish could somehow touch in front of the Cali Condors, but with 50 meters to go, it's Flickener and Anderson, 1-2, but Kopish less than a second behind the field.
Flickener, her last few splits, 0.3, 0.5, 0.6, 0.3. She has been steady Eddie here all the way throughout. How much does she have left in the tank? She closes like nobody else in the butterfly kit. She held him off in the freestyle.
Wow, look at Flickener go. She is going to lead a 1-2 finish for Cali. The Condors keep tacking on the wins. That's their 12th win here on day number 1.
And Flickener goes 4 seconds faster than she went in the very first match of the weekend. So what's that? 8 or 9 days ago, she went 4 seconds slower. Shows you how every time you start the race, you start to feel the technique start coming back. You start to feel the space in the splits, air stroke, the technique, everything, a racing part of things. I mean, she jumped out to that early lead, held everybody off, 158 plus, 201 plus, and how about Haley Anderson? She went her lifetime best by 5 seconds. What a swim by Haley Anderson, her teammate. Beautiful job for Cali and Haley Anderson and Haley Flickener.
Cali Condors now with 265.5 points after they pick up 16 more. New York Breakers at 3 points to their advantage over Team Iron. And now they have a 9-point advantage as we go on now to the 400 freestyle on the men's side. And this could be a big event for DC Trying. They are thinking 1-2, thinking jackpot, because again, that's the thing about ISL 2020 with the jackpot, anything can happen. They get a big swim here from Zane Grothe. They could get right back in the mix in a heartbeat with Team Iron and the New York Breakers.
Grothe comes in rated first here in this event, and his teammate, Depjanovic, is right there at 3rd. Those are the only 2 that are rated right now, and Grothe did a great job last week winning that one. 2nd fastest time in this short season so far, 3:39.7. His lifetime best was only 3:38.7. He did that back in 2016, so he's only a second off his best time. Boy, they are flying here. These times just really, really impressive here.
All right, is this the moment for DC to get a little momentum? I tell you, Leonardo Santos, he is pushing the pace. The first 25 for Team Iron. We have seen Grothe so patient in his approach swimming this race.
Yeah, he has shown tremendous patience, because you're always going to have a rabbit that does something like this. And Santos did the same exact thing last week, and he ended up fading pretty badly. In fact, got 7th last week, and he was out first at the 200 last week. So unless something miraculous happens, he's definitely going to come back to the field. But Zane Grothe is just so good at just having that efficient energy, conserving the first half of a race, starts to accelerate that tempo as the race goes along. He's in lane number 2 to the left of your screen. His teammate over there way to the far left, Stepjanovic. He's been 3:38. In fact, he has the lifetime best of anybody on paper. Grothy and Stepjanovic have both been 3:38.
Well, when you think about the New York Breakers, they were very good in match number 1. In fact, Rapsis won it, but Brandon Smith, who's right now at the very top, swimming in 3rd place in lane number 8, he was 2nd. Felix Albach, who was a great distance freestyler for the Michigan Wolverines back in college, he was 3rd. And Albach right now, he has moved into the lead here.
Albach, you caught a lot of his races, didn't you, at the Big Ten Championships?
Look at Albach go. And again, he was known more for the distance of the 1,500, so you know that he should have a lot left.
That's a great look from the camera standpoint, and it's a great look at seeing what Zane Grothy is seeing to his right. Now look at the camera now here. Look what's in front of you. You see Albach, but you don't see Grothy, and what Grothy is seeing is to his immediate right. So I'm not sure he can even see Albach way up there in lane number 7 with Grothy being down there in lane number 2. He's looking like I'm trying to track my teammate here. But in the meantime, he's a good full 2 body lengths behind Albach. Albach was 1:47.7 going out. That's about 3 seconds faster than he went out last week. He is just letting it fly right now. Wow, 27.5 on that split.
Felix Albach is trying to get the 4th win of the day for the New York Breakers. They find themselves just ahead of Team Iron, trying to get a little wiggle room right here.
There's no way anybody's going to catch him. I mean, look at this, and they're running 1st and 3rd. Brendan Smith, these 2 guys come in 5th and 6th. They're going to be much better than they went last week. Albach was 3:41.3 a week ago. Look at the clock right there. Unless he goes 31 seconds the last 50, he's going to go a lot faster.
Yeah, Felix Albach came in without an ISL rating. He is going to take down the top-rated ISL swimmer in this event. New York on top again.
Wow. Unbelievable. 4 seconds faster than he's ever been in his life.
Big time day 1 for New York. They remain 2nd after Albach gets the win. Well, Cali Condors, they love this relay, unbeaten so far. 400 medley relay, and to the winner, Rowdy, they get to pick the skins race. And as we saw last week, you get Lily King in skins breaststroke, and I'm not sure that anybody's going to catch it down, and she looks ready to go.
They are certainly relaxed. Allison Schmidt right there. And they should be relaxed. I think they're going to dominate this relay. Think about their 2 relays. Schmidt's anchoring their B relay. She's an 8-time Olympic medalist, 4 of them gold, and she's anchoring a B relay. That's how good this Cali Condors women's team is. Stick around and you want to see some amazing swimmers. You've got 3 Olympic gold medalists on Cali's A relay. Unbelievable.
Which team do you think has any chance of upsetting the Cali Condors in this battle?
I mean, I thought Iron would have a chance because you've got Hosu and Chroma Jojo. But I just don't understand this strategy. Maybe it makes sense and will eventually, but they've got Chroma Jojo swimming butterfly on their B relay. Why wouldn't you anchor one of the best sprinters in history on your A relay? Why would you put her on your B relay? So you've got Hosu swimming the A relay, backstroke, and then you got Chroma Jojo swimming butterfly, which doesn't make any sense. She got 8th in the 100 fly. Would have taken her off immediately and said, you're going to anchor our free relay. I don't think anybody, I think DC's going to be good. Amy Bilquist, Gallant, World Championship silver medalist. I mean, they've got a really good relay, but top to bottom, look at that. Smaliga, King, and Dahlia, all of them Olympic gold medalists. All of them. And Natalie Hines has been nothing short of just spectacular in every single swim she's been in. She has been money on all the relays. So you know what you're going to get out of her.
All right, to the winner, they pick the skins.
I wonder what they're going to pick if they win.
I mean, if you're Cali Condors, you got a lot of options.
You do have a lot of options.
You're feeling good.
Question.
I mean, Schmalik would be saying, hey, come on, I'm ready to go backstroke skins, right?
Yeah, but with Hannes and King, that's a tough duo to say no to. Smaliga, you know, she was so good in that 100 back last week, fastest time of the season when she went that. Here you've got the B swimmer for Cali Condors, Beta Nelson. What did she do? The B swimmer won the 200 backstroke earlier. That's how good Cali is in this. And there's no question in my mind, they definitely have the potential to go 1-2 in this relay. In fact, you could probably bet on it.
And I mean, look at this lead. You have Olympic champion and Lily King jumping in, and again, against the field, 0.75. Her teammate was closer. Hannes trying to track her down.
56.2 for Smaliga. Right behind her, King was, Beta Nelson was 56.9. And there's Gallant down there trying to keep DC Trident in it. Remember, she was the World Championship silver medalist, but in the 200 breaststroke. First time that she's been on a relay. She did not swim the medley relay last week, A or B relay. In fact, you've got 2 first-time swimmers swimming for DC Trident. The next swimmer, Rule, did not swim last week on the relay either.
Well, on DC, they love to try to claw into that lead that Iron and the New York Breakers have in front of them. Right now, it is all about Cali Condors. Of course, King is going to hand over the lead.
103.7, right on what she went last week. Hannes was 104.8. Nice job there for Gallant. 104.2, and that pulls DC Trident into second. Boy, they need this shot in the arm here. They're not going to win it, but boy, what a shot for them to get second. That'll pick up big points. They won't get jackpotted here, I don't think. So they'll pick up some valuable points and gain some momentum for tomorrow.
Yeah, you get 14 points for a second place finish, 18 points for first. At the moment, it's the Cali Condors in the lead with Natalie Hines still to anchor, and the battle right now is for second.
26.2 going out for Kelsey Dahlia. Erica Brown Well, look at another B swimmer that just might have the second fastest split. She is just letting it go right now. And Callie Condors dominating right now. Wow! 56.8 for Dahlia, 56.9 for Erica Brown.
And it's going to be Gear battling against Allison Schmidt for second.
Now, Margot Gear has been in this situation so many times. We talked about her last week, and for Team USA, she has been on a lot of really incredible relays. So if anybody has a shot to move past Callie for second, it's definitely Margot Gear. She'd be the only one I'd put in here to move by.
Allison Schmidt trying to capture the lead from Natalie Hines, but nobody's going to catch Callie. The question is, will they go 1-2? For the second time this season, the Condors will pick the skins. 1-2 finish for the Callie Condors in the 400 medley relay.
You could have swapped out any of those swimmers for Callie and they win the relay. You throw Brown on the A, Dahlia on the B, you throw King on the B, Hannes on the A, it didn't matter. All 8 of them did their job. Schmidt 51.8 at the end. Natalie Hines 52 flat. You knew exactly what you were going to get from Natalie Hines. A solid 52 flat. Just spectacular as usual for Natalie. She's just swimming great here the last 2 weeks, but their B swimmer goes 51.8, and that's the fastest split of anybody. And by the way, Margot Gear over there to the far left, nice job by DC trying it, 51.9 anchor for her. But boy, hello, Callie.
Well, Callie Condors get to pick the skins, marks down with Jonte Skinner. But again, the skins plays a big role, Rowdy, in the MVP battle. Right now, Caleb Dressle leads the MVP battle going into this 400 medley relay on the men's side. He's got 36 points, Lily King second. Marco Koch currently third again. His 30 points all came in one race, so that was certainly the most brilliant race we have seen here on day number 1. And here's a look at the lane assignments. What do you think here in this men's side in the medley relay?
Well, on
Rowdy?
the men's side, Callie comes in with only the 7th fastest time of any team thus far. And you certainly like the way the iron look. They've got a good, solid relay, 1st through 4th. I still like Callie, but they have 4 completely different swimmers swimming 4 completely different strokes than they did last week. Ress was on the B relay swimming fly. Dressle swam fly on the A. He's swimming breast. Stewart swam back on the B. And Mazrak, he's the only steady guy. He swam free on the A relay, and he'll be anchoring the A relay here. And there's Justin Ress. We just saw him win the 50 backstroke. Second in the 50 freestyle. I like DC here.
You got Jacob Pebley, Infinity, Giles Smith, and Zach Apple to anchor.
If they're close with 100 left, I give them a chance, no question. With Zach Apple anchoring, 45-1. He hasn't been as sharp this weekend, but boy, he could let one fly. He could save it for the best, and DC would desperately love to have this as a skins tomorrow. You don't want to give Callie enough life into tomorrow. You know, this thing is far from over. Doesn't matter if Callie has a big lead. We got a big day tomorrow. Huge potential for a lot of these other teams to make some noise.
And now remember this, Roddy. We'll see Caleb Dressle swimming breaststroke here, but how much better will Callie be later in the season when they get Nick Fink back on their team?
And that's going to be a difference maker. I was talking to the coaching staff earlier about Nick Fink. He was back there training. He was working really hard, had an injured wrist, So that's really taking him out, but he'll be ready to go, not next weekend, they're off next weekend, but the weekend after that, he'll be ready to go.
DC, Pebbly, the early leaders.
He's faster than last week. He was 51.2 last week, 50.8 there. And if you're looking for rest, he's 51 flat. So again, a lot to make up here for Cali. And Iron, Saki was 56.8 on their B relay. He's the guy that won the 50. He swam the B relay last week. And he's letting it fly here this early on. He's out 25.9, has taken a huge lead.
Saki in the silver cap in the middle. Towards the near side, you see Infinity and the red cap. And right now it looks like Iron and DC battling it out to see who will pick the skins.
Well, Iron, if they win, you know they're going to go 50 breaststroke. With this guy right here, he's having a huge split. Saki, what a job for Iron right there, 56.1. Cock was 56.7, by the way, which pulls New York into second place.
All right, now it is Santos into the lead for Team Iron. Remember, they find themselves currently in third place. How big would it be for Team Iron to pick the skins?
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely huge for Iron. This is why it's never over. We've seen so many jackpotted points, and Saki looking really good. A full body length lead on the field. And Santos, check that, Santos is doing the job. He's out 22.9, and he's giving them a big lead at the end.
It is Iron followed by New York. Cali has moved to third.
50.4 for Santos, 50.8 for Coleman Stewart. The only guy that I think even has a remote chance at this point is down at the bottom, Zach Apple. But Iron is going to choose, checking the splits, the takeoffs, all of them safe. Nobody at this point. Zach Apple actually to be determined. So it looks like Zach Apple might have jumped on that relay.
Look at Zach Apple charging at the end, but it's the Iron. They've done it. They will pick the skins.
Iron will definitely choose the skins. And I can bet you they're going to choose the breaststroke, the 50 breaststroke.
Might see breaststroke tomorrow to wrap things up on day number one, Rowdy.
No question, the men's 50 breaststroke. Let's go back to that. Saki was 25.5, a half a second ahead of Andrew. Now, if you're New York, that's what you want. You want the breaststroke. So, but it sure looks like on paper anything is possible. It looks like the Iron is going to choose breaststroke, and you're right. We could have a double breaststroke. DQ is possible here, and no DQ there. I see, I don't know, very close.
Now look at the replay in lane number 2 on this transition.
That very tight. It didn't come up.
Again,
it didn't matter anyway. They were out of the money anyway. It was really Apple, and he was minus 0.01. Zach Apple was minus 0.01. You're allowed 7 100s. Cope, he was minus 0.07. So they were DQ'd. The DC trying to B relay was DQ'd. Here we go.
All right, the Iron get the final victory of day one. They will pick the skins tomorrow, but day one belonged to the Cali Condors. What a day for Caleb Dressle. He leads the MVP race with 39 points. Yeah, I can't wait to see how this thing concludes. Match number 4 will come to its conclusion tomorrow. For Mark Foster, Rowdy Gaines, and our entire crew, Bernie Gunther saying so long for now from Budapest.